So let's dive into podcasting today.
Okay.
Everyone's heard about Joe Rogan, like that massive Spotify deal. He got like $100 million.
Yeah.
It's like, what is it about podcasting that, makes it worth so much money?
Right.
And we're going to look at someone today who started from scratch and is now like killing it in the podcasting world.
Oh, cool.
Danny Miranda.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of him.
Yeah.
He's doing really well.
Yeah. So it's pretty amazing how someone, zero experience can rise so quickly.
Yeah, it's interesting how podcasting is still such like a young medium compared to like radio.
Yeah.
Radio's been around for like, what, a century?
Yeah.
Podcasting is still new and it's just growing so much every year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
People are just craving those like long, in-depth conversations, and that's where podcasts shine.
Yeah, and Danny's story is just a perfect example.
Oh, yeah. How so?
He started just 3 years ago, like recording in his parents' basement.
Wow.
Just capturing conversations he was already having with his friends. And now he's pulling in 30,000 to 50,000 downloads per month.
That's amazing.
I know he's interviewing his heroes now, too. It's wild.
That's so cool.
What do you think it was about his approach that made him take off so quickly?
Well, I think at first he just wanted to share these insightful conversations he was having, not overthinking it, just putting himself out there.
Right.
That realness connects with people.
Yeah, and I think there's also like a smart business side to it, too.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, how do podcasters actually make money?
Yeah, well, the big one is advertising.
Right.
But a lot of them are building businesses around their podcasts, too.
Oh, really? Like what?
They're doing courses, newsletters, consulting, even hosting live events.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it becomes a platform for so much more.
Yeah, it's like what Joe Rogan did with On It.
Oh, yeah.
He had a stake in that company. And it ended up selling for, what, $300 million?
Crazy.
Podcasting can open some big doors for sure.
Definitely.
So, okay, I want to start a podcast. Where do I even begin? Danny says the barrier to entry is surprisingly low.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do you need?
So you don't need a fancy studio or tons of equipment.
Okay.
Basically a decent microphone.
Okay.
The Shure AV7 is supposed to be good for beginners and a good internet connection for those interviews.
Yeah, for sure.
But Danny says the most important thing is being willing to reach out to guests.
Interesting.
Like that's where the magic happens.
Makes sense.
He recommends sending out like 100 messages.
Wow, 100.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot.
It does.
But he says you'd be surprised how many people are actually open to being on a podcast.
Ah, interesting.
So you've got to guess what makes a great interview.
Right.
How does Danny do it?
He's super dedicated to this part.
Okay.
He spends like 5 to 20 hours researching every guest.
20 hours?
Yeah, we're talking watching their old interviews, reading their books, even going through their tweets.
Wow, that's a lot of research.
It is.
Does that actually like change the conversation?
Totally.
Oh.
He's able to ask such good questions because of all that research. Like he's not just trying to get basic answers. He's looking for those insights that maybe the guest doesn't even realize about themselves. Like his goal is to help them discover something new about themselves.
Wow.
That's how you create those really unforgettable conversations.
So you've got this amazing interview. How do you get it out to people?
Good question.
This is where a lot of new podcasters struggle, right?
Yeah, marketing is key.
Yeah.
Big name guests are great, but it's not everything. You need a solid marketing strategy.
So what does Danny do?
He's all about repurposing his content on different platforms.
Okay.
He's not just uploading the full episode and calling it a day.
What does he do?
So he makes long videos for YouTube and then uses those YouTube shorts for little snippets,
Okay.
reels on Instagram too.
What are those?
They're short videos that are super engaging.
Oh, okay.
And of course, Twitter, sharing clips, engaging in conversations.
So he's everywhere.
Yeah, and the key is he's not just promoting himself. He's joining conversations about entrepreneurship, discipline, success stuff people are already interested in.
That's smart.
Yeah, it feels more authentic,
Right.
less salesy.
And speaking of consistency, that's huge for Danny, right?
Absolutely.
He's released something like 359 episodes in just 2.5 years.
It's amazing.
That's dedication.
It's like Joe Rogan releasing 3 episodes a week for over a decade.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so I find it fascinating that Danny sees every episode as a learning opportunity. He's always trying to improve his communication skills.
That's cool.
It's like an athlete training in the gym.
Makes sense.
Consistency is how you get better.
For sure.
Okay, so we're seeing this crazy output from Danny, almost an episode a day.
I know, it's wild.
How does he keep that up without burning out?
Yeah, is it all willpower?
Right.
It's definitely part of it, but there's more to it.
Okay.
He really emphasizes routines and habits.
Like what?
Like meditation, morning walks, hitting the gym. All these things help him stay grounded in prison.
And it's interesting because he actually says those things help him connect with his guests better.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's not just physical energy.
Right.
It's mental and emotional clarity, too.
Exactly.
Huh.
It makes you think, right?
Yeah.
If you're not connected to yourself, how can you really connect with anyone else?
That's deep.
And that applies to way more than just podcasting.
Right.
It's about showing up as your best self in every interaction.
That's a good takeaway.
Yeah, for sure.
So it makes you wonder, how did Danny even get these big names on his show?
Yeah.
Like Gary Vaynerchuk, huge influencer.
Right.
And Danny had him on as like his 39th guest.
I know. It's pretty crazy how he did that.
Yeah, for someone just starting out.
It's amazing he didn't have any secret formula or like special connections or anything.
Okay, so how'd he do it?
He was really smart about using social media.
Okay.
Like he was always tweeting about Gary's work, how it impacted him.
Right.
He basically leveraged his own audience to get Gary's attention.
So it wasn't just reaching out directly. No.
It was like showing genuine admiration.
Exactly.
That's a good strategy.
Yeah, you don't have to be some big shot podcaster to attract those big names.
Right.
It shows you the power of Twitter, too.
Yeah, people overlook that.
It's not just for sharing random thoughts.
It's a great networking tool.
For sure.
So before you go after like the Gary Vaynerchuks of the world,
right?
Who was Danny's first guest?
Oh, he actually interviewed a friend.
Oh, smart.
Yeah, it's a great move for beginners.
Yeah, why?
It takes the pressure off. You can practice your skills in a safe space.
Right.
Get comfortable with the whole process.
Yeah, like a test run before the big show.
Right.
It's like we get so caught up in wanting things to be perfect that we never actually start.
So true.
And Danny says the most important thing is just being willing to reach out.
Yeah, he believes that people underestimate how many guests will say yes.
Really?
If you just ask.
It's like that saying, right? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we've got the equipment landing guests marketing your podcast.
Mm-hmm.
What about the content itself?
Right.
Like, what makes a great interview?
Yeah.
Is it all about asking the right questions?
Asking the right questions is definitely important, but it's more about creating a space where like genuine conversation can happen.
Okay.
And that goes back to Danny's preparation process.
Well,
he's not just coming up with questions on the spot.
He's spending hours like getting to know the guest.
Right. He's immersing himself in their world.
We talked about that 5 to 20 hours of research.
Yeah.
I still can't get over that.
It's wild.
So how does that actually translate into a better interview?
It lets him ask those deeper questions.
Okay.
He's not just trying to get information. No. He's trying to uncover these like hidden gems of insight. And that's what makes his interview so interesting.
Yeah.
He's not just asking questions, he's facilitating self-discovery.
It's like he's a guide.
Yeah.
Helping the guest explore their own thoughts and experiences.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I think that's what sets him apart from other interviewers.
How so?
He's not just looking for the soundbite or the headline.
Right.
He genuinely wants to help his guests connect with themselves on a deeper level.
Yeah.
And people can feel that authenticity.
It makes the whole experience more meaningful.
For sure.
For the guest and the audience.
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
From starting a podcast to crafting a great interview. It's inspiring to see someone like Danny starting from nothing.
Literally his parents' basement.
And build something so successful so quickly.
It's really cool.
Yeah, it shows you the power of podcasting.
Anyone with a passion and a story can reach a global audience.
That's true.
And as we've seen, the rewards can be huge.
Yeah, we've talked about the business side a lot.
Right.
But it's clear that podcasting has also helped Danny grow as a person.
Oh, absolutely.
How so?
He talks about how it's made him a better communicator, a better listener, more empathetic overall.
It's interesting how something so simple,
just recording conversations, can lead to such huge personal growth.
Yeah, each episode is a learning opportunity.
Not just for the listeners.
But for the host, too.
Yeah, it's a constant journey of growth and self-discovery.
And we can't forget about taking care of yourself on that journey.
Right.
Danny's focus on routines and habits.
Like meditation and exercise.
Shows how important it is to build that inner strength and well-being.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just about like pushing yourself to the limit. It's about finding that balance.
Right, finding that rhythm so you don't burn out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, Danny talks about how podcasting has helped him connect with people like on a deeper level. What do you think about that? Do you think podcasting can really do that?
I think it can, for sure, when you're having these real conversations.
Yeah.
You know, there's this vulnerability, there's a shared experience that comes out. And I think Danny's really good at creating that space for those authentic connections to happen.
It's not just about the words themselves.
Right.
It's the energy behind them.
Exactly, the intention.
It makes me think about all the different ways that we connect with each other.
Yeah.
You know, through stories, shared experiences, even just listening with an open heart.
It's powerful.
And podcasting seems to tap into all of that.
For sure.
So we've talked about Danny's journey, his strategies, what makes his approach unique.
Yeah.
What does this all mean for our listener?
Right. Like, what can they take away from this deep dive into podcasting?
Yeah.
I think the biggest takeaway is that it's not as hard as it seems.
Okay.
You don't need fancy equipment or tons of experience.
Right.
You need passion, a willingness to learn, and the courage to just put yourself out there.
That's it.
Yeah, and Danny's story proves that you can achieve some pretty incredible things.
Just from taking that first step.
Exactly.
I mean, we've seen how he started from nothing.
Literally nothing, recording in his parents' basement.
And built this thriving podcast and a fulfilling career.
It's amazing.
It's pretty inspiring.
And you know what the best part is?
What?
Podcasting is still so young.
Yeah.
There's so much room to grow and try new things.
It's like what Danny said. It's just the beginning.
Exactly.
So now's the time to jump in.
Sure.
So I want to leave you with this. What would your dream podcast be about? What stories would you share?
Yeah. Who would you want to interview?
Exactly. This deep dive has given you the knowledge.
Now it's time to take action.
What will you create?